Good morning and welcome to Gator's Garage, the home of all things historical gaming in and around the great city of Savannah, Georgia. We have with us this morning Mr. Mike Tunez, a returning guest, studio manager for Firelock Games. So y'all can give him the good Gator greeting there. Before we get too late into this thing here, I would ask that y'all do all the YouTube things, like, share, comment. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. All that really helps us with the YouTube algorithm and helps us get the Gators message out far and wide to all the folks who we absolutely know want to know what's going on. So, for those of you that don't know, of course, Firelock Games, most known for their game Blood and Plunder, but they've introduced, of course, other titles, Blood and Crowns, which we demoed this last weekend. I'll be having a report of that up on that later this week. Blood and Steel, which is their colonial 19th century game, and they just rolled out Port Royal, which is um, I'd like to describe it as Mordheim beats Blood and Plunder. It's a kind of
hmm
an RPG without a GM, if you will. And then two games coming up, and that we're going to touch base on: Blood and Bayonets, their Napoleonic skirmish game, and their rules for, and then their RPG War Stories uh, um, RPG for World War II. So there we go. Well, Mike, thank you for your time, and I guess we'll start off with the current project. How's Port Royal been received?
Hey, Mike, thanks for having me. I appreciate always coming on here. It's a good time. Port Royal has been received really well, thankfully. I think so far we've had a lot of people being able to just pick it up and play it. One of the great advantages of a game in a box is that you could open it up, build some figures, and get playing right away. Has a little bit of the Christmas
Right,
morning effect. Not completely, 'cause you do have to build your figures, but we're trying to alleviate that by coming up with some new boxes where all the models are assembled. But we'll talk. Yeah, so that's the first big expansion. Just 30 point factions ready to go right out of the box. So those are coming soon, probably in the next week or so. But yeah,
excellent.
it's been great. I see people already running campaigns. We just had a great campaign run by our mutual friend Dennis at Recon. I
Recon.
always have to remember if it's Recon or Huracan, but it's
Right.
Recon this time. That I got to play. I got to play a little bit. Unfortunately, I just ended up doing demos of it mostly. There was a lot of requests for demos of it. People were pretty interested, but everybody else who got to play all the full games had a great time. Seems like so.
Fantastic. Now he ran that campaign what Friday through Sunday or Friday through Saturday, I guess.
No, just Saturday. It's one of the advantages of
Wow.
the system is you can get a lot of games in quickly. It plays pretty quick. So I think he ran it Saturday from about 9 a.m. until about 5, more or less, something like that.
Wow.
I think he had
Okay.
10 people total playing, so that was pretty awesome.
That really is. And I like, this game, like your other games, is that false small footprint. And
hmm
I'm seeing even across the marketplace, more companies come out with smaller footprint games, 3x3, 2x3, to accommodate both the kitchen table and the reality that many of the stores that we're playing in don't have a dedicated 4x6 for something like the big
hmm
Gothic game. Um,
Yeah.
but you can throw one of these on a regular banquet table, which is
hmm
used by everybody, card players, board gamers, and have a very immersive experience. And then pick the whole thing up and with minimal disruption to a store. So that's kind of cool too, and to yourself. So that's very good.
Yeah, and we
Well,
have. I mean, they play on a 2 by 2, so your regular, what is it, 2.5 by 6 foot banquet table is you could run 3 games on that. So
I think that's what I saw you guys doing. So
yeah.
yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. One day I'll get to where I can broadcast live from the shows, and I could have actually broadcast that. That would have been fun. But yeah,
Yeah.
so again, I think we have another winner from Firelock, and I'm always glad to see that. I've got my copy. I have opened it. As a matter of fact, I opened it and did a box opening, and unfortunately, that's as far as I've
Mhm.
been able to get with my busy schedule. But I will probably
Yeah.
run my first game using the solo cards from the solo deck. If you guys don't know, there's actually a player deck which includes special activities as well as a complete solo engine. So I'm looking forward to giving
Yeah.
that a try for a couple reasons. One, I'm
Mhm.
I'm getting to where I kind of like solitaire games to kick the tires on different systems. And
Mhm.
also, with my wife working and being busy, sometimes it's just me scrounging time to play games while she's sleeping.
Yeah, yeah, and
All
you don't
right.
need
Well,
the deck makes it easier because all the stuff's printed on the cards. But if you just have the box set, you can play with regular deck of playing cards, and that'll work okay as well.
okay, just like you've done with your other games. Good
Yep.
job. That's good to know, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
will make sure I pass that on. Matter of fact, for Blood and Crowns, that's what I use. It's 2 decks of playing cards to activate the units, and works pretty
Yep.
well.
That'll work.
Fantastic.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this. The next Kickstarter here that I think just funded, right? Blood and Bayonets.
Yeah. Blood and Bayonets. I don't know if you saw, we ran a big game of that at Recon as well this year, and Rufus, the primary author of the game, set up a big amphibious landing, and uh some there was a big schooner loaded with carronades, and a bunch of cavalry decided they can go up to the shoreline and try shooting at it, and they took a broadside of carronades, and that was fun. That was a critical moment there in that one, but but yes, Blood and Bayonets is it's so the game is we are about to send it to print. We've had a little bit of delay just because we are trying to feel out the whole tariff situation, but it looks like we're going to be good one way or the other. So thankfully, it's mostly just books and cards and things, so it's nothing that's gonna be impacted too heavily at the moment, at
Right.
least. Hopefully things stay that way. But
Yeah. Yeah.
and we kind of had this, and we anticipated that when we priced it out and everything. So but we're about to get it out to print. It's pretty much set. It's just the final edit is all it's missing now, and then that's a week process. So we're still on track to get it out early in the
Fantastic.
summer, and then it's an exciting game. It adds a lot of it's when you one of the cool things about the blood and game system is you can kind of the authors have done a really good job of adapting the different timelines, and this is no different. So you can kind of, since it's the same core rule mechanics, you can see the development of tactics and equipment throughout the different rule sets and the way they kind of highlight that. And Blood and Bayonets does that a lot with the way the more organized method in which units fight, and the advancements that you see, big advancements in artillery in the Napoleonic period and things like that. So all the
Okay.
game reflects all those things while still keeping, as always, the core of what makes Blood and Plunder work. And of course, it features the ships prominently, as you can see in the picture you've got posted there, which is always fun. You do your
Yeah,
Hornblower
because they're
Master and Commander stuff. So.
right.
Mhm.
I read a series when I was a young man, by Alexander Kent,
Yeah.
and it followed Richard
Hmm.
Bolitho from like captain of a sloop up to like rear admiral with commanding a 3 decker, and
I've read a
there
few of
was a
those. Yeah, it's
lot
good
of
stuff. Hmm.
there you go.
Hmm.
And if fiction's to be believed,
Hmm.
and even what we know about history, these smaller actions were much more common
Yeah,
than the big actions like Trafalgar that get all the press. So man,
sure. Yeah.
again, good job.
Hmm.
Sounds like we have another winner. I can't wait to give it a go. I've got Napoleonic. I have access to Napoleonics. Looks like I'm gonna have to break down and paint some of those guys. I'm gonna have to hate you for that, because Napoleonics. Oh my gosh! But what do you need? About 60
Right.
figures on the side, right?
60 figures on a
Uh,
side, less if you're on a ship. Depends on the size
Okay.
of the game and the size of the ship. You could play with as little as like 30 or 40 if you want to play a basic game to get started. But yeah, full size games about 60 figures a side, depending on your
Okay.
faction.
All right. Yep. So I'm looking at 120 Napoleonic figures. I'm in. We'll figure out how to get them painted eventually. That sounds
Yeah.
fantastic. Well, again, looking for good things from that, and of course, Gator Games will be carrying this when it comes out, as well as we already can access Napoleonics, and we'll have a stock of those available as well. Other next game that I've kind of had half an eye on, but not really in my wheelhouse, so I'm not really dug into it as much as this War Stories World War II RPG that is going to
Yeah.
Kickstarter.
It's on
It
Kickstarter
looks
right
like there's
now.
some. It's on
So
Kickstarter right now. Okay,
yeah, go
and
check
if
it out.
if if
Mhm.
folks buy into the Kickstarter, what do they get?
So we have, so the War Stories is a game we published previously. We did not do a Kickstarter for it at the time. We were so in deep with our Blood and Plunder Raise the Black Kickstarter that we didn't want to put another Kickstarter out, but we had the game ready, so we just released it through normal channels and did a pre-order instead. So we kind of wanted to give it the full reception it deserves through a Kickstarter project because it's a really great game. It's really simple mechanics using the Year Zero engines, kind of just dice pools of D6s, and some tweaks to modify it to make it a little more realistic, a little less arcadey, if you will. But there are some options to kind of go either way. But the game is in the Kickstarter you're gonna get the original stuff, which is the main rule book, the GM screen. There's a card deck for weapons and initiative and things like that. And then there's the there's an expansion, or not an expansion, rather an adventure book that goes with. The big new things in this Kickstarter is the Pacific campaign and
Oh,
an additional campaign for Europe for Market Garden. So the Pacific expansion and campaign, I should say, 'cause that has it has all the extra stuff you need to play in the Pacific. So different the stats for all the Japanese forces and all things like that, as well as a bunch of new options and of course an adventure to go with it. Then in addition to that, the Japanese expansion also have its own card deck and GM screen. But and for both for Europe and for the Pacific, we have also we did a line of miniatures to represent all the characters that you can play, all the pre-generated characters that are in the adventures and things. So you can use those and just kind of, if you like playing with minis, you could get stuck right in. And it's just it's a fun way to use your minis to play kind of a different sort of thing.
excellent, excellent. And of course, there's piles of 28 millimeter World War II
Yeah,
guys out there to fill in as non-player characters. So
plenty. Yeah.
fantastic. And I'm assuming from looking at the cover and the way you're describing it,
Mhm.
you're actually role playing as a allied squad, I assume.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is geared toward playing either the Americans or the British at this moment.
Fantastic. That's very good. So we all get to be the good guys, go beat up on the bad guys. I like it. Sounds like
Okay.
fun. And again, we're always looking at different ways to maybe explore World War II or explore our both the skirmish and the history side of gaming. And this is
Mhm.
one more level that you can take it down to. So fantastic.
Yeah.
What inspired you to do an RPG?
So, um, we've my business partner Alex Aguila, during the pandemic, he rewatched Band of Brothers, which is
Mm,
if you've seen it, it's an excellent show.
yes,
And he was doing a lot of role playing at the time because since nobody was in contact, there's a lot of virtual role playing online and things like that. Um, so he was doing a lot of that. And after watching Band of Brothers, he said he basically said like he really wanted to kind of recreate that in an RPG experience. Um,
nice.
so I went to look for a rule set and discovered that there is, as far as we could find, no dedicated historical World War II rule set. There's a few like mods out there for existing systems, and there's a lot of like weird war stuff, but nothing that
Right.
really lets you do what he was trying to do. Um, so he worked with a friend of ours, Gabe Garcia, who's the author, and they worked together and they created this game. And so the game is designed for that. Like if you just want to like relive those kinds of stories, like Saving Private Ryan, Band of Brothers, Pacific, all that stuff, that's this is the thing for you. And it's really a good time. I've played it. I'm not a big RPG guy. I'm with you. Like on this, RPGs aren't really my thing. But obviously this is a product we're putting out, so I had to play it, get the feel for it a few times,
Right.
and I was really surprised at how much I enjoyed it. Like it was a really like it just kind of, especially, and probably because I'm a minis gamer, we played with miniatures and terrain and everything, set the scene, and I just, the with Gabe running us through it, and it was just really cool the way he told the story and put the whole thing together. It was a great experience. It's a lot of fun.
That is fantastic. And I know there's a lot of folks that do miniature gaming,
Mhm.
that do our miniature games, Firelock Games, that
Yeah.
are also RPG folks. And of course,
Hmm.
Gator Games, we are, one of our cornerstones is World War II. So I can see where this will fit
Hmm.
very nicely into our into our market plans as well, and into our customer mix.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see what happens with that. And you're right. I think I've heard of one or two others, maybe, but it's been a
Hmm.
while, and certainly no company with the cachet of Firelock that already has a set of players saying, "Hey, this looks pretty interesting." So,
Yeah.
okay, very good.
And it'll be the
All right.
first of a few.
Uh,
We have one. We always get the question, why would why not like some of your other systems, some of your other settings? So we are there is next year we will launch a Kickstarter for the Blood and Plunder RPG. So that's something to look out for if that's what you're into. But it's coming next year. I've said we had another one that we were gearing in that direction that didn't quite work out. So we kind of recalibrated and started over, and it's actually going to be based on Port Royal's mechanics for all the
okay.
resolution and combat and things. So it's going to be more compatible than the original game we were doing with the actual minis games too. So you can kind of zoom in and out as you need to, which will be a big plus.
Absolutely. Yeah. I know. And I haven't finished reading all the way through the rules, but I know there's a section in the Port Royal rule book that talks about doing Blood and Plunder in Port Royal. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of multi-level games in the same universe. So I think you're definitely onto something with that. That's going to be exciting. I think if the success of Port Royal is any guide, I think your RPG in the set in that genre is gonna actually gonna work pretty well for that. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, I hope so.
Speaking
I
of
think so.
RPGs,
Hmm.
yeah, I hear you. And again, we will as you move forward, we will do our best to keep folks informed via this channel so that so that they have an idea what's going on, kind of what's going on behind the scenes. Now, War Stories is on Kickstarter now. How long is that Kickstarter running?
So that Kickstarter is gonna run until the I think the 16th. I don't know. 16th, yeah.
Okay,
Just had to
so
confirm.
about another couple
It
of
is running
weeks.
till the 16th. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So you got a couple of weeks, folks, to kind of take a look at it and decide if you want to get in on the ground floor of this and help bring this project up and moving. And I always think it's a really responsible thing for companies to kind of test the waters with their marketing ideas by doing a Kickstarter or a pre-order or
Hmm.
something that says, "Hey, if you as a gaming public want to bring this to market, help us get it launched." And I
Hmm.
really think that's a nice way to do that. Um,
Absolutely.
Switching gears just a little bit here, I think you and I talked offline. But
Hmm.
of course, we mentioned that you went to Recon, and that Dennis ran um, some good games for you there. What else? What were you hearing from folks in regards to your other games? I know you just released a new rule set for Oak and Iron. How's that been received?
Yeah, it's been received really well. It's we Okinawa ended up being out of stock for a little while, so that maybe there was a lot of demand for it building up, but it has sold well since we restocked it. And the people playing the new edition are enjoying it so far. They agree that the goals of streamlining and balancing were met. So, and some of the little things that were slowing the game down were kind of just cut down and trimmed and made more efficient. And some of the balance issues with boarding that could sometimes happen, it was able to get a little swingy before, have been kind of leveled out. Um, and so that's been doing great. Oak and Iron's been a steady one. It's just it's people buy it because of the accessibility. A lot of times, it's totally got the Christmas morning effect, right? You can open that box and be playing in 10 minutes. So
Right.
that's a
Yep.
big advantage of it, and as such, it really appeals to the board game market quite a bit, because it's all self-contained as well. You have your terrain, you've got your mat, you've got your ships, you've got your rules dice, everything's there ready to go. So it's done consistently well for sure. So really happy with that. And
Fantastic. I
we
think I'm
ran
current.
some.
I think.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Hmm. No, I was gonna say we also ran some Blood of Valor. We did some games of that over there, as well as the Bayonets, and as well as a fantasy rule set that we've been working on. We did a big play test, large scale, for the first time there. So that was a lot of fun. It went really well. And I think that's oh, and then how can I forget? Blood and Steel ran a few of their expansion tests. So that also went pretty well. I know Edgar was running one. Another guy named Joe was running another one, and those games looked like they're very well received. I did not participate in those, unfortunately. I was busy with uh, the Port Royal event. But based on the people I talked to and the way and the smiles on the faces of people and the yelling and screaming coming from the table, I assume it went well. So
That's awesome. The good yelling and screaming.
right, the
That's
good kind.
fantastic. So it sounds like between all the GMs, we managed to cover all your games this weekend. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I know my Blood and Crowns game was
Hmm.
full and well received, and we had an absolute blast with it. Edgar sat in on that, and so kind of helped provide an extra GM. But
Hmm.
everybody enjoyed it. Everybody really, played it to the hilt. So again, good job with all that. I really, I like being part of the Firelock team because we both have a very similar mission of using skirmish gaming to give people a chance to play in a smaller amount of time with a smaller amount of figures, so they can do the important thing, and that is be part of this awesome hobby. I'm
That's right.
currently out of Oak and Iron. It sounds like I need to get that restocked. I knew we had
Yeah, sure.
updated the rules, so that's
Hmm.
fantastic. But yeah, I will say, for Gator's part, Firelock's been a fantastic partner for us. All your stuff does very well. I bought in a copy of Black Flag the week before the convention and sold it like the day before the con. I'm like, well, that was a good idea. So
Nice. Well, I'm glad
you
to hear
guys are
that.
doing, yeah, yeah. And you guys are doing a great job with that. Let's see. So what's your next con that you're going to be at?
So our next con that we're going to be at would be, I think at this point, Historicon. Pretty sure that's the next one.
Okay.
So we'll be at
Wow.
Historicon. We
Okay.
did not attend last year; it just didn't work for our schedules. But now we've got a partner helping us out with conventions at Griffin's Lair Games, so they're going to be running the Firelock Games in an official capacity. They know the games. They help. Their Our editor is going to be there with them as well. So we've got we'll be there. We're gonna fly in. So that makes it doable for us. And it's because to lug our all our stuff 1,000 miles across the country each way is it takes a lot of time and effort. And then we have Gen Con like a couple weeks after, so it's kind of too much too soon before. But now, thankfully, we found a way to make it happen. So we'll be there.
Man, I am looking forward to that for you guys. Like I always
Mhm.
tell people, get lots of pics, get lots of videos, blow up your social media. Show us all the fun you're having. I went to Historicon about, gee, I think about 5 years ago now, 5 or 6 years ago, and oh my gosh, I think it's the only con I ever went to where I actually got tired of gaming. It was like five
There's a lot of
days, and
games
by the
going on
fifth
there.
day, I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. By the fifth day, I'm like, I think I'm done. So fantastic. All right, Micah. As always, thank you for your time. Thank you for the work that you guys are putting into the hobby with your company. I think you bring a lot of value to the hobby. And
Thank you very much.
again,
Well, I
thanks.
appreciate you guys pushing all the stuff and helping making it happen. So
Yes, sir. All right. Okay, folks. Thanks for watching. And if you get a chance, check out the Firelock Games website for the new things they have coming up. Check out the Gator Games website. Best way to support the channel is to buy some merch. And we're constantly, if we're out of a Firelock product, it is probably on the way in. You can always ask us with an email. Again, click like, click share, click subscribe. Making videos is thirsty business. If you want to buy us a cup of coffee, you can support us on Patreon or Ko-Fi. So thank you very much for your time. And that's it for this time. We'll see y'all later.